Welcome back to my channel. My name is Blair if you're new here, and today we're going to do holiday prep part 2, I guess. Decided to kind of make this into a series. I know last month I gave you like an overview of what I do in the months leading up to the holiday season. But I thought I'd show you exactly what I do on each month just so you have a little more detailed explanation. So today is September, or we're in September, I should say. And the two things I attempt to accomplish is making a list of what I plan to bake and get my ingredient list made. So when we get closer and it's time for me to shop for those ingredients, I know the quantity I need because I don't want tons of excess in my cupboards. Also, I usually try to order any holiday decor. So I want to explain the holiday decor part first. Basically, I don't know that I'm actually going to do that this month for two reasons. There's some of the major pieces of my decor that I need to replace this year. And I'm trying to hold out a little bit longer because Target typically does, like on Black Friday, where if you spend like $100 on decor, they give you $50 off. So I'm waiting to see when the Black Friday ad comes out, if they're still doing that this year, because they've done it for the last, I don't know how many years. But that way it would save me some money when I go to buy all the things that I need. Normally, if it's like random little tidbits that I really wanted from a previous year, I will order those now. But this year, I mean, the bulk of what I need to get is like replacing my string lights that I had in the front porch that were snowflakes because they burn out, and I'm going to go with icicle lights this year. So I'm going to go with icicle lights this year instead. So I need to get enough strands to go across the front porch. My Christmas tree kind of burned out a little bit last year, and it's a pre-lit tree, so I need to replace that. And then I also have some garlands that I put like back here in the dining room. And those had burnt out a few years ago, but I just like rewrapped them with a fresh cord of lights. But now they're real thick and they're not as floofy because of the double strand. So I do want to replace those this year. Those are big things. So my goal is to hopefully be able to do the Black Friday thing. That way I can spend the $100 and get the $50 off. So that is my goal. So I'm not planning to do the decor this early like I normally would. But let's talk about the baking. So baking, I'm going to show you two things that are like my best friend when it comes to planning for holiday baking. Okay, so I have my laptop and a notebook set up here, but my first thing is Pinterest. Pinterest is my friend. So as I go throughout the year and find recipes that I'm browsing, I will just start pinning them, or ideas for food, right? Baking in general, drinks, maybe hot chocolate, that kind of stuff. Now, my typical goal is that I like to make one new recipe every year. So I will typically browse through this and then pick what I'm going to bake. I think my plan was to do... Where did it go? Maybe it was that first one. Okay, I think my plan originally was to do these mini spice gingerbread loaves because I have tried gingerbread so many different ways and it's always an epic fail. So I thought, well, maybe if I make it as a bread, it'll be okay. I'm not 100% sold that I'm going to do this yet, so I'm not going to pick my random recipe yet at this point. And then my other best friend is this website or app that you can download on your phone, iPad, called Copy Me That. This is honestly one of the best tools I've ever found. Not only can you easily upload recipes when you find them on websites, but you can also add in any manual recipes that you have, like say in a recipe book that you have. So this honestly is so helpful because then all my recipes like are in one place and it just makes it easier. So I've already put in here the ones that I plan to do. So every year I always do a double batch of green Christmas tree Spritz cookies. These are my all-time favorite, so I always do double. Last year I made these Spritz cookies. They're like the orange cream cheese ones, or snowflake cookies we call them. These were really good, so I am going to do those again this year. And I always do at least one batch of sugar cookies, simply because I love to decorate them. I'm not a big fan of eating them, but I love to decorate them, so I always make it. And like I said, I put the gingerbread loaves on here, but I'm not sold that I'm going to do this, so I may take a little more time to think on that and browse what I did save for recipes. So at this point, I have like a kind of concept plan here. And then what I'm going to do is actually go through each specific recipe and just start listing like what ingredients I need, how much. And then at the end, I can kind of total them up and have a total of what I need to plan on purchasing when we get ready to bake. At this point, I'm going to go through it. Like I said, the ones that I'm going to focus on right now are the green trees, the orange spritz, and the sugar cookies, and get the ingredients that I'm going to need off of my Copy Me That. Just so that way I have my list. I think we'll start with the sugar cookies because that one's probably the easiest. And the nice thing is too, you can put tags on your recipes in here, so you can actually search like cookies and it'll just pull up cookie recipes. So that does make life a little easier as well. Especially when you start getting a ton of recipes in here. So, and again, when we get to actually baking, I will obviously put these recipe links in here for you. It may pull up the site. I try to go back to the original source, like the ones that I found on Pinterest. But I will say, like with the chili that I did and the football Sunday one, I don't know, the website was like no longer valid. So I was actually quite thankful that I had saved the recipe into this program. So that way I still have access to it. And so when I shared it, I had to do it that way. But let me get this written out and then we'll talk a little bit more. I'm all done, so I just want to show you kind of what this looks like. So I literally will just go through the first recipe, write down the ingredient and how much, and then as I go to the next recipe, I can just add on instead of writing a second, you know, sugar, egg, that kind of thing. And then over here, I will total up the total of the ingredients. Anything that is a little more variable, like meringue powder, I bought last year, so I may not need to get it this year because that stuff lasts for a few years and you get a lot of it. Powdered sugar, I know I have some in the cupboard and I'm going to be using some for a recipe next month, so I need to look at like how much I got to determine how much I really need to get, and that will probably be something that I add to my list at the point of placing my, you know, baking list. And then same thing here, checking my inventory on food coloring. I only wrote green here because obviously the green Christmas tree cookies, I always need a ton of green food coloring, but because I also do icing for the sugar cookies, I need to check the rest of the colors as well. So we're just gonna check all inventory there. But this is, again, what it looks like. So again, that's kind of the stuff that I take in September. This way I have my game plan. I also can kind of price out ingredients a little bit, especially right now with inflation. It might be helpful to be able to shop around to a few different stores so I'm getting the best price because of the cost. But again, this also helps me because one year I think I was like, okay, I need this ingredient, and this one. And then I went like overboard buying them to make sure I had enough to do all the cookies. And then I had leftover stock for so long that it didn't fit into my food containers for proper storage and things of that nature. So now I do this because it allows me to purchase just what I need. And I can also check what I got in the cupboard to use up what I have. That way things aren't going bad as well. And you're saving money by not over purchasing. And then, like I said, it allows you to shop around before you actually need to purchase, because I don't typically bake until November. So I usually bake the beginning of November because almost all of these cookies are freezer friendly, so I can freeze them all after I make them, and that way I don't have so much to do in the month of December. I can actually enjoy the time with events and decorating the cookies and things of that nature. So I hope you found this helpful. Maybe this will kind of help you to plan for your baking as well for the holiday season. And then, like I said, decor. The reason I said decor I do this month too is because if you've ever shopped on Amazon, which is predominantly typically what I do, They tend to increase a lot of the pricing on those items when we get closer to the months. T-shirts, decorations, stuff like that. I've just learned over the years that if there's something I really wanted one season and I was not willing to pay the price that was showing, if I buy it like 2 months, 3 months before that season hits, I get it so much cheaper. So it's worth it to do it in advance if you can. Like I mentioned, the only reason I'm waiting is because I know Target does a massive sale the day after Thanksgiving, and that's when I decorate anyway. So I want to see if they're going to do that, because they usually release their Black Friday ad. I can't remember if it's like the end of October, beginning of November. So I'll kind of get a feel for whether or not they're going to do that. But that'll probably be the way that I'm going to save money, because I do need to replace bigger items like the tree and the garlands and lights. And those things add up. It's not like it's, you know, little decor items. But again, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I hope everybody has a blessed day.